Welcome back, guys. Hopefully you can all hear me. I have a guest behind the mask. Would you like to reveal yourself?
Hi, guys. I'm 70 years old. He's laughing at that.
No, not. But clearly still having fun with it. So thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure. It's an honor. You can't imagine, Joe, what this is for me. I'm kind of in front of people. What's their average age?
Well, we've got a real span, to be honest, from right.
Yeah, but don't tell me you have people 70 years old.
40s and 50s, yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys.
Yeah. If anyone wants to share in chat, you can. What your age is, but don't feel like you have to. But yeah, it's a real range. So do you want to let people know who you are and how important you are?
Okay, my name is Silvia. I'm from Argentina. I'm here in Milan together with Joel, and I have psoriasis, as I have just learned that many of you have. And it's been a long way with this friend, which I do not call friend at all, because I think friends are here because you love them or they love you. But definitely I do not love my psoriasis. And my psoriasis, I think she loves me. Yeah. But anyhow, I'm a journalist. I work on TV. I have been a very severe patient of psoriasis. But here I am. I did a good life, I have to say, but I never thought I would make such a good life because of my psoriasis. Yeah. That would be the ribbon.
Yeah, and you've had a real impact. Like, do you want to talk a bit more about what you've done back home, and then maybe a bit about what you do with IFPA?
You want to know everything?
No, just whatever you want to share, just so
I can't tell everything I did.
No, just like for for awareness and around psoriasis.
Yeah. Okay. I started with my psoriasis when I was 19, and at that time I was at the university, and I had a boyfriend before I had the psoriasis. So he started seeing me with psoriasis, which was okay for me. It was kind of. I didn't think at that time that it was going to be, there was no cure. Of course, you go to the doctor and you think you're going to go out cured, which didn't happen, of course, and it doesn't happen nowadays because it's chronic, but I do manage perfectly. And there I went, my life, when they asked me what psoriasis was, I used to answer it was like leper, but not contagious. That was the only explanation I gave. And then another explanation I gave, I said it's a disease that it's easier to say it in Spanish. It's like it breaks your head, right. And then you start putting the parts of your heads that were broken, and you bring it back together to continue with a normal life. But you can do it, definitely, but there's a point where it's very difficult, especially not when you have maybe mild psoriasis, because with that one you learn easily. The other one is much more difficult to learn how to live with, but you do, definitely you do. And the science has changed so much that nowadays it's a much world where to have psoriasis. And I started I'm a journalist, as I said. I work on TV, and this didn't stop me from doing TV and being very famous in my country. But this is a very funny story. Once I came out in the cupboard of a very important magazine there, and there I was with skirts. When I got home, my son Bruno, he was 5-6 years old, and said, "Mom, your legs." And I said, "Whoops." But I never minded that they showed, because whenever the sun started shining, I went out and showed my psoriasis so that it would get better.
And I think that's important, for people to see it, because if not, it just becomes this sort of, that you're just feeling the stigma.
But let me tell you something. It's very easy to explain what psoriasis is. Take me the time. You know what? I produce my skin every 48 hours. Normally people produce their skin every 28 days. Or they change the skin every 28 days. So it's not contagious. It really bothers me, the only one it bothers. How much time did I take to explain it? Very little. Yes. Very little. It's very normal that people, when you look at people, it's very human that people look at you when there is something different. Wherever you see, you pass by an accident, you pass by a person that falls down, you look. Inevitably you look. It's human. When you have a plaster in your hand, everybody asks you, what's happened with your arm? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. When they see something different in the skin, they ask, What is that? It's normal that they ask. It's not that the other person is a bad person or whatever it is. He just doesn't know, and he is scared because skin can be contagious. So you just have to give a very short explanation. This is not contagious. This is psoriasis, and it only bothers me. And then when you start taking those stones from that, how do you call it?
Off your back, sort of.
Off your back, your life becomes completely different. When you dare go out and let the others see what your psoriasis is like, then it's completely different. And the other one is going to be educated. Mm-hmm. The other one is going to know what is happening. So every time sees that person, it's like maybe looking at somebody without an arm, without a leg. I mean, there it is. Fortunately, psoriasis is not like that. And another thing that, why do you have to go in such a bad state to the pool or to the beach if you can go to the doctor and get better?
Yeah.
But it's very normal, very common that what do? We just, kind of, I'm fed up of this, I'm fed up of the topics, I'm fed up of going to phototherapy. But you don't get fed up of the stigma of the other one, how he sees you. So you really have to think that if you go to the doctor, if you take care of your psoriasis is going to be much better, and you're going to feel much better when you have to take off your clothes, whether it's a beach, a pool, or a bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get tips off you. You're a professional, just like talking down the camera. Can you tell that she's a celebrity back home?
Well, how old are you?
Too old now.
Do you think I learned this in 24 hours?
Yeah, so we'll bring Silvia back in for another stream where we learn about streaming tips and presenting tips. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do with IFPA?
Oh, yeah. It's two things. One is when I started with IFPA, that was 17 years ago. For the first time in my life, I was facing not being able to pay my treatment. And that's when the biologics came out. And that was kind of absolutely shocking. It had never, ever happened to me, fortunately. And I said, wow, I had the best doctor in Argentina. I had the best researcher. He had been my doctor. That's another tip. Don't change doctors if you're okay with a doctor. Because it's very common that when you see that your psoriasis doesn't go or doesn't get better, talk to your doctor, tell him you're not getting better. But it's very important, really, that you have a good relation. I always had my doctor, so I had the best researcher and doctor. I was famous, I was very popular, and I got this message from my private insurer that said, we're only going to give you 40% of discount in the drug, which I could not afford. So crying, I went to my doctor and said, okay, what are we going to do? How am I going to get in that time, again, my very bad psoriasis was coming back after so many years, which I wasn't used to it. Mm-hmm. Again, I was facing kind of what I had faced at 19 until 25 years old. That had been my worst years. And he said, nobody does, you do it. And he said, go into psoriasis.org. And I went into the National Psoriasis Foundation, and I have to say I was quite ashamed of myself because I knew where the best hospitals in the world were, and I had been there. Yeah. And I did not know about the patients' organizations. I only knew about the HIV people. And I said, how come? I mean, I'm a journalist, not only a patient, but also a journalist. And there I discovered MPF and IFPA.
Oh, okay.
And IFPA. So I wrote to MPF and IFPA. And I got a very nice answer from MPF. I had asked, can I translate your webpage and put it as if it were the Argentine webpage? And Sherry Decker from the MPF said, thank you for asking. Yes, of course you can. And if you want, you can send me the translation, because I did. And then IFPA, Jan Monsbakken, treasurer, was there, and he answered also from IFPA. And I started asking, and he said, well, I'm going to Argentina because my spouse, she is Argentine. Okay. She was born in Argentina. Her father was a professor in the University of Tucumán. That it was something about potatoes. Okay. but whatever it was, I always say that there was a powerful hand on top of me that led me to the best places because every time I gave a step, a door opened.
Yeah.
And it was a step that I did not know, and nobody knew me. I mean, I was in a world where I was not famous. I was Silvia, I was a common person, and there it went. And I remember he came to Argentina because he was coming to Argentina with all his family. And I was supposed to launch IFPA, I think it was June or something like that. I thought I would have everything ready to launch it. But then when he came to Argentina, I said, would you launch together with me the foundation? It's not a foundation, it's a civil association. Right. And if I do it in March? And he said, yes, of course. And then there we were that day, the 30th of March. And I remember I had invited so many people. I didn't know if nobody was going to be there or it was going to be full of people and I would have no food to give them. So there we were, and it was kind of Hollywood. And I was going back again into calling people that I had never seen for many, many years. So that's how I started. And Jan, in the middle of the ceremony, he said, I want to officially welcome and invite you to the next meeting of IFPA that will take place, I think it was Amsterdam. And suddenly, 2 months later, I was in the meeting of IFPA. Brand new person. I felt like I was, like a little kid like that. I felt I was in the UN because it was all the desks were put like a U. And I was there, and I don't know what I said at a certain point. And when everything finished, a woman came to me and she says to me, do you know what you said? And inside myself I said, oh my God, what did I say? And she said, you said one of the most important points in this meeting. I said, oh, I took such a weight from myself. And that's how I started in IFPA. And IFPA has been, NPF and IFPA have been my lights in everything I did. I learned how to work. I learned how to do it. I always had a response. I always had an answer. And I loved to get into IFPA. And then Jan was kind of my mentor, and he taught me how to be part of the board. But then I had to be voted to be part of the board. And fortunately, I was voted. That was in 2007, and here I am, just voted yesterday.
What an impact. And
so that was from 2007 to up to now, 2022. I've been in the board of IFPA. But what is interesting is that if you ever asked me if I would be doing this in my life, I mean, I'm a person that never says no, but you kind of,
It's amazing how a cause can drive. Like, I was thinking the exact same thing to myself last night after I'd done a talk that I would have never have done 5 years ago. I just never would have done it.
Exactly.
And it's amazing when you have that passion, that drive for a cause.
And it's a passion.
It's
a passion.
Yeah.
And whoever is there, that it lives in a place where there is no association, no patients association, found it, do it. I mean, it becomes a passion. It becomes it's fabulous. You're frustrated so many times, but then that frustration kind of gives you more strength. Yeah. And it's kind of, I heard your story with your arthritis and everything, and I know how difficult it is, but here you are. Yeah. And now it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's different.
Totally, yeah. And also the hope it gives you as well. Like,
the hope, the pain is less or not?
Yeah. It makes part of your management of it.
Yeah.
So much easier. Like, I've described, these guys on here will know, I've described it as being part of my therapy. And I've just joined my local pain management team as a volunteer and explained to work, I need time off to do that because it's part of my therapy.
And
it's mad.
It's nice. It's super nice. Are
I'm
you bored? How many people are
there?
This is like a minute to minute. we don't want to lose any followers.
No, you won't at all. Like, I'm definitely clipping this, by the way, and sending it to all our ambassadors.
Great.
Because I think they definitely need to hear that whole, that you can go from nothing and being like that terrified one.
I used to say that I started surfing on the sea, and I never knew how to surf, and I couldn't get down from that board,
You just
from the surfing board.
But is there anything else you wanna, any messages or anything else you wanna share before? I know you're an extremely busy person, but is there anything else you wanted to put out there?
What should I
Appreciate
say?
we've covered a real big span of time.
No,
and
if you
work
want to
there.
contact us, just get in touch with us, and we're going to make your life much better.
Yeah, yeah, and if and I suppose anything that's going on, I know we've got people watching that are all from around the globe. If you need any help signposting, anything like that, to either your national association or if there isn't one, what you can do about that, then get in touch with us and we'll hook you up with wonderful people like Silvia. And
Yeah, I know. There are
make a
lots of people like me and that have the same passion, fortunately.
Yes.
Fortunately. And we have an excellent secretariat. And I know, you know, what I always say, and this is my last comment, is if I had a patient organization like IFPA when I started with my psoriasis, the life of my family and my life would have been completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that would be my message.
And
Thank you.
before you go, I'm just going to read that back to this how wonderful a group of people that watch this is, that they all just go really quiet and all the chat stops and they listen
know.
intently and then they all
Thank
start
you.
coming back. So they're all there. It's just so we do lots of interviews and things, and they
Big hugs to everybody.
they're just
You
listening.
know, we give kisses.
Right, I'm
you.
gonna guys, I'll just switch to another Be Right Back screen and mute everything so that Sylvia can leave us. But thank you very much for listening, guys, and I hope that was useful. And yeah, we'll clip that all up and put it in the usual places once I'm back home. So yeah, on behalf of everyone, Sylvia, thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys.